Hello friends, today I'm going to talk about a book called as the Braha Sutras by Mr. James Braha. James Braha has been in the field of astrology for the last 45 or 50 years. He's from the USA. He came to India to learn the science and then he's been practicing it for a lifetime. So he is a practicing astrologer, and whatever online interactions I've had with Mr. James Braha, he's very active, he's very proactive. Even at I think he's around the age of 70 plus, maybe 75, and he's very proactive. So I know this is someone who's been active in this field. Now for someone like me who is approaching the age of 40 and who has 15 years of experience in this field, it's not possible to encapsulate and bring all the knowledge of the astrological techniques and apply them. So this book is very helpful, because what it will do is it will help me to learn from the various observations that James Braha has made. So for example, he says the moon and the planet opposite the moon is going to tell you a lot about your spouse. Now this is almost like a snapshot technique. If there's a planet opposite the moon, you are going to see the qualities of that person's spouse. And there are many such techniques, observations which he sees. For example, in the D9 chart, he says, observe the 7th house, observe the first house, the ascendant, and the 7th house to judge the prospects of marriage. So there are many things which James Braha talks about, and it is very useful information. It is many sutras. You can see that there are many sutras and more than 200 sutras. Each sutra is given in detail. It is given in detail, and it is something which is about practical methods that work. It is not for people who just want to get some Shastra knowledge and then brag about it. This is for astrologers or people who want to apply the knowledge of astrology very practically. Now, this being the advantage, we see that a lot of people, they quote the Shastras, they tell us different techniques, they tell us different interpretations from those techniques. But somehow those interpretations don't work sometimes, because the Shastras or the ancient books were written with a certain context and we highly respect them, but we have to understand why they said certain things in order to make an interpretation in today's context, which we call as Desh Kal Patra, applying the concept of place, situation, cultural context, and so on. That is very important. So this book will help you to understand the context of many things, to understand which method is to be used in which context, because it is coming from decades of experience. So I think this is a rare attempt by any astrologer. I don't think even the very prominent astrologers have written a book which encapsulate the juice, the nectar of their learning, giving it in such a free manner, just publishing it out. I don't think many astrologers have done. I don't think anyone has done it, and maybe very few have done it in such a concise, practical, modern, contemporary manner. So I would highly recommend that you read this book and apply it and see. I also remember another training of James Braha where he gave a checklist on what you need to check in order to holistically and fully read a horoscope. So this is someone who's very systematically into the knowledge and is passing it on to the next generation. He's doing a lot of YouTubes, he's doing a lot of other podcasts and things, so that this knowledge can be passed on to the next generation. And also he's lived in the Western world, he's lived in the modern world, so there is a lot of relevance to the context. Yeah, so I think the viewers hopefully will benefit from my review, from what I've shared, why to read this book. What is in the book? You will see range of topics, a range of topics. You know, like I mentioned, the technique about the moon. There's so much about Varga charts. There's so much about when to use them, when not to use them. There's things about transits which are very valuable. There's things about how you have to communicate to your client, which is very valuable. So everything that is valuable to an astrologer, he has sort of encapsulated, made it into very concise, readable format. I think I've read 80% of this book, but I cannot read this, you cannot read it like a novel one after the other. You have to read the sutra, absorb it, read it again, test it, apply it, and that's how astrology works. So for all the people who've been trying to learn from YouTube and different online sources, I would recommend buy all the books of James Braha. That is the only author I would recommend that you buy all the books and read them. And then there are, of course, lot of things that you will be able to learn and apply. Okay, so this is what I wanted to share. I hope it creates value for you in your journey of Vedic astrology. It's a very ancient science. Also, focus on your spiritual practice, meditation, pranayam, chanting, whatever it is, because that will give you the inner power to read this mystical science. Cheers.